Alright, the key to pulling out masking tape or striping tape or fine line, this is called fine line. You can see I did that relatively quickly. The reason I'm doing it quickly is when I find what I want here, I'm keeping it where I want it to go. You want to stretch it out as far as you can. The further you stretch this out, the easier it is to lay down a straight line. Now, when you are pulling out this tape, if you put too much pressure on it, let's see if I can do it. If you put too much pressure on it, if I really pull this and lay it down, it'll make a nice straight line. But what's happened is this tape's gone thinner. And what'll also happen is when it's pulled tight like that, it wants to come off. And so what'll happen is while you're working on, you're getting ready to paint or whatever, your fine line tape will start to peel back and stuff. So when you're laying it down, you don't want any pressure on it more than just holding it. When I hold it here and I lay it down, that's a straight line. So what you want to not do is you don't want to sit there and work it, like you don't want to sit here and try to work it like this. It ends up with a crooked line. The further you can stretch this out, the longer you can run that line, the straighter it's going to be to where you want to go. You can peel it and lay it probably like 3 times before you need to get rid of it. And it doesn't really super contact stay down until you push it down. So if you have an area you don't like, you might be able to work it and move it around. If you have a spot that doesn't work out, cut it out and put your line in. If you're going to put 2 stripes in, let's say you messed up here and you're going to cut it and you're going to come in and you're going to lay another line. What you're going to do is you're going to start above where you want to be, curve it down into where that tape is, and then continue your line. And that'll make it to where this transition doesn't have a little groove in it, you know, a little notch. And curves can get pretty tight, but you're going to kind of watch right here where you want this thing to go, and then kind of lay it down like that, and you'll try to get this side of the line where you're going to be using it to be smooth and not have these little ripples in it. Sometimes it'll happen. Sometimes you need to put a little cut in them, you know, to get it to lay down right. But there is a chance that that paint's going to creep under that little spot right there, you know. So, you know, that can happen. But that's kind of the way paint is. If you're striping in between the 2 colors, it might not matter as much, which usually you'll do, but it doesn't have to be, especially if you're using candies or something. But that's kind of how you keep a straight line. Let's try to do an example of a straight line. So if I wanted to do a straight line along this top edge, I'm going to lay this tape so you can kind of see it. I'm going to lay it right where I want it to be. I'm going to come to this end. I'm going to lay it down right where I want it to be. And then we got our straight line. So that's kind of how you do it.
All it takes is one job, oh yeah. All it takes is one job, and everything is gonna be okay.
Alright, so that's our primer sealer. We're going to go with our satin gray next. And here we go. So in the middle of the painting, I had a bit of a issue where it was just spitting everywhere. Yeah, see that little spot there? One there. Anyways, it was starting to cough and spit everywhere for who knows why, and it turned out to be a little piece of the, here we are, a bristle out of the brushes I used to clean it got lodged between the needle and seat, and so the paint was just running out and spitting everywhere. So you never know what kind of fun you'll find. You kind of try to do your best to do it right, but there's also always those variables. That's why I'm not a huge fan of paint work. I like body work because it's a little more straightforward. Paint work tends to have so many variables that can messy up your day. Alright, that's our grill, and really happy with how it turned out. Kind of reminds me of a newer car. Our grill's mesh is a little dusty here, but really cool. Love this gray we used. It's a hot rod flats color, and has some cool metallic in it, and just accents that blue really nice. I thought that this should be black, but I wanted to paint it this gray first. Now that it's all gray, it looks good. I'm not going to mess with it.
All it takes is one job, oh yeah. All it takes is one job, and everything is gonna be okay.